Hey guys, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and it is Sunday, so we're doing breaches of the week. And full disclosure, I'm actually recording this on Saturday because Sunday obligations are not allowing me to basically get free. And before I begin, I'd like to thank the following people. Chris Fowlan, Chandar Rarashakan, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, and William Mitchell for sending me tips, links, all that kind of stuff. And if you have a tip for me, please send it to me and I will give you a shout out. It always helps me out. And with that, let's start with one of the largest breaches of the week, and that is MGM. Apparently, the personal details of more than 10.6 million users who stayed at MGM resort hotels basically have been published on an online hacking forum this week. Beside the details for regular tourists and travelers, included in these files are also personal and contact details for celebrities, tech CEOs, reporters, government officials, and employees of some of the world's largest tech companies. To quote one of the articles and one of the researchers, the biggest concern in the MGM disclosure is that the hackers stole deeper, more sensitive data on 1,300 individuals, including information off driver's licenses and military ID cards. Class actions have already been filed. So if you ever wanted to harass Justin Bieber in person, you can now find his address online thanks to the MGM attack. And I say Justin Bieber because most people don't like that guy. Moving on. Let's talk about Endeavor Energy Resources. This is an oil and gas exploration company, and they discovered on January 14th that earlier that day, an unauthorized party through a phishing scam possibly gained access to basically protected health information that was unsecured and stored in an Office 365 account by an Endeavor employee, probably somebody in HR. After a review, Endeavor was able to determine on February 7th that the protected health information within the account included names and health plan member ID numbers of current and former employees of Endeavor and Endeavor affiliate companies, as well as dependents who participate in the company's health plan. So if you work for Endeavor Energy Resources, hopefully they've notified you by now. Moving on, let's talk about a company called Slick Wraps. This is a vinyl cover maker. They make covers for like iPhones, tablets, laptops, that kind of stuff. And their website got hacked. In an email sent to customers the other day, Slick Wraps said an unauthorized party accessed its private databases and obtained customer names, email addresses, and actual home addresses. Slick Wrap claims passwords and credit card information were not compromised. So if you have a Slick Wraps account, heads up to you. Moving on, let's talk about Monroe County Hospitals and Clinics. This is out of the state of Iowa. They said in a news release this past Monday that approximately 7,500 people were notified that the breach may have led to unauthorized access of their individual health information. The organization discovered on December 9th of 2019 that its email system had been compromised. This is according to the release, and an investigation involving computer forensic scientists was immediately launched. The results of this, I don't know yet. Next up, I'd like to basically give you guys an update on Click2Gov. Now, if you recall, between 2017 and 2018, tons of small to mid-sized cities across the United States, and I also believe Canada as well, basically had to tell their residents that their personal data was included in a Click2Gov data breach. Now, this is basically a platform that a lot of municipalities use to do things like pay utilities, parking tickets, all this kind of stuff. And here's the thing, the update is, and the articles I've read, is that Click2Gov is basically going down the tubes. Multiple municipalities are basically leaving Click2Gov in droves to look for other platforms to provide this service for them. And this just underscores the problem of having a weakly secured platform and then offering it to a wide membership. And so Click2Gov really didn't get it straightened out, and now municipalities are leaving, and that is definitely going to hurt their bottom line. We will see if Click2Gov basically survives. Moving on, let's talk about PSL Services. This is also known as the Peregrine Corporation. They are out of Portland, Maine. Now, they told local news publication MainBiz that personal data, including names and medical information, may have been accessed illicitly. The company said multiple employee accounts potentially potentially containing sensitive information was accessed without authorization between December 16th through December 19th of last year. So if you work for the Peregrine Corp out of Portland, Maine, heads up to you. Moving on, let's talk about something called TUSLA. This is a child and family agency in Ireland, and I found this absolutely fascinating. Basically, between 2018 and 2019, they had 75 separate data breaches, and this just came to light due to disclosures of Ireland's new data breach laws. Now, some of the examples include things like a mother and child's basically they're a victim. Their location details were quote unquote accidentally disclosed to their alleged abuser and things like that. So that is obviously a very serious issue, and hopefully TUSLA out of Ireland will be able to get their data security policies and practices in line with Ireland and the GDPR out of the EU. Moving on, let's talk about the Public Service Alliance of Canada, and this is actually kind of fascinating and a little bit convoluted, so bear with me here, but more than 69,000 public servants are caught up in the Phoenix pay system. That's not Phoenix, Arizona. There's a pay system called Phoenix, and basically this is a debacle, and they are now victims of a data breach after their personal information was accidentally emailed to the wrong people. Now, basically what happened here with this Phoenix system, they improperly paid tens of thousands of public servants since their launch in 2016. Some employees have gone months with little or no pay. Others have been overpaid, but what made this basically a data breach is that a report naming 69,087 public servants was accidentally emailed to the wrong federal departments, something like 200 Canadian federal departments. It is a complete mess. And so if you have anything to do with the Payment Service Alliance of Canada or Phoenix Pay System in the Great White North, that is a serious issue. Heads up to you. Moving on, and this is probably the worst data breach of the week, we are talking about the Defense Information Systems Agency, or DISA. They are part of the Department of Defense in the United States. DISA handles White House IT and communication support, and they also work with the military in this vein as well. And this is nuts, but according to a breach notification basically sent to DISA employees last week, they had a security incident that took place between May and July of 2019 when one of their systems, quote unquote, may have been compromised. Now, DISA says that employee personal information, including social security numbers, was exposed during this time frame, but did not say how many were impacted, nor would they, because that is probably a national security secret at the moment. The Department of Defense agency did not provide any other details about the breach. However, it did add that it had no evidence to suggest that employees' personal data was misused prior to sending the notification letter, which is a default thing. If you can't prove it one way or the other, you have no proof. And this is oftentimes what cybersecurity outfits counsel their clients to say, myself included, because quite frankly, it's true, even though it doesn't mean much. It's more of a marketing spin. So we'll see what the fallout is from that. But if they are handling the communication for the White House, meaning the President of the United States, as well as communications, that is a very, very serious issue at the national security level. And hopefully basically the executive branch of our government is secure. We will see. And finally, I'd like to talk about the last thing. And I read this article, and it's not actually a data breach, but it's on the effect of data breaches. And data breaches are having severe psychological effects on much of the global population, especially and obviously if you're a victim. Now, according to a recent survey by the nonprofit Identity Theft Resource Center, 86% of victims of identity theft reported feeling worried, angry, and frustrated. And it gets worse. Nearly 70% felt that they could not trust others and they felt unsafe. More than 2/3 reported feelings of powerlessness or helplessness. Sadness or depression afflicted 59%, and half the victims reported losing interest in activities or hobbies they once enjoyed. In other words, depression. So these negative emotions can also have physical repercussions. Nearly 85% reported disturbances in their sleep habits, meaning they are literally losing sleep over losing their identity, money, etc., etc. 77% reported increased stress levels, And nearly 64%, so I'm guessing 63.9, said they had trouble concentrating. Aches, pains, headaches, and cramps were symptoms for nearly 57%. We know per study psychologically that stress can take a physical toll, and a data breach is exactly this. Now, when you combine this with the video that I released on yesterday, basically on the heels of, or just before I did this one, as you recall, I did this on Saturday, even though you're watching it on Sunday, we don't have anybody at the national level really talking about this. And if we are looking at electing, a new president in 2020 or re-electing the current one of those things that we really need to underscore to the American public is that the U.S. government, and we are talking U.S., although this is a global, worldwide issue, and every government should do this, should be a focus on cyber defense for its citizens. What are we doing worldwide to stem the tide of both, malicious hacker and state-sponsored hacker, not just to sow disinformation, but identity theft is a huge, huge problem. The world by 2021 will have collectively spent $1 trillion in cyber defense, and by 2021, the hackers will have extracted over $6 trillion from us, and that is absolutely insane, and it's only getting worse. The numbers fluctuate, but we know thanks to new breach disclosure laws, especially out of Europe, we are seeing more breach disclosures by virtue of being corporations and organizations being forced to disclose than ever before. And so there is a ton of anxiety there, and quite frankly, it is driving us up a wall. Now you add to that our dependence on mobile devices. You add to that the psychological need that many have for likes, shares, follows on social media platforms. And between data breaches, our use of mobile devices, and social media platforms, we really need to address this issue with technology. And specifically when I'm doing breaches of the week, we really need to look at this, because if we are looking at anywhere from 60 to 90% of the general population that's going through this is having severe psychological and or physiological repercussions as a result of losing their identity or losing cash or having their bank account emptied, that's something that we can't turn a blind eye to. That's something that we can't grin and bear and simply accept. That's something we need to focus on and resolve in whatever way that is. And I think that's a very serious issue that we need to face. And so with that data breach study is the last major data breach, because quite frankly, these malicious hackers are breaching our minds in a roundabout way, and I think that's something that we need to address and we need to defend. And so those are your breaches of the week. Were you affected? I hope you weren't. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at Nick AESP, and please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, guys.